got anyone in any particular order, so if you can come down, please. Firstly, we've got Jack. Jack is... Jack is from the Socialist Workers' Party, and he's the secretary for Leeds PSC. So I'll do a bit of an intro about PSC, Palestine Solidarity Campaign. I've lost my voice, I do apologise. We are an action group, purely about action, about things like today, boycotting, and raise general awareness about the Palestinian plight. They've been going for decades, but recently they've really taken off. So I would encourage everybody here to join this group. If not this group, maybe another group, but join somebody. Don't be by yourself. Don't be a stranger. Everybody around you is family. We've got love for the sake of the Palestinians, so let's keep it up, guys, please. So Jack, why don't I let you introduce yourself? Go ahead, Jack. Round of applause for Jack, please.
Thanks for having me again, Rashid. I mean, this is the biggest crowd I've seen in months in Leeds. So again, a huge round of applause for the turnout today. I'm here today to talk about peace. You might have seen in recent weeks a subtle shift in the rhetoric that's coming from the media and the ruling classes. They're allowing a couple more dissenting voices on the news, and politicians are now starting to reduce their rhetoric about violent support for Israel at any cost. They're now starting to talk about de-escalation, about peace talks with Israel. And I want to be clear about what our leaders mean when they talk about peace. They don't mean peace, they mean silence. They want to go back to a world where millions of us didn't march for Palestine anymore. They want to go back to a world where they could bomb, murder and steal without anybody standing up. Because the bombs are still falling. Just last week, Yemen was hit for the 4th time by Britain and the United States. But in response, 1 million people marched in Yemen to say they will not stop their blockade. Because you can't kill a movement with bombs. People's eyes have been opened, and we have to continue our marches, our protests and our picket lines. But that raises the question, what is it that we're fighting for? The leaders of the Arab nations this week have said that they want to start negotiations for a two-state solution with Israel. And Sunak and Biden are starting to call for that too. But this solution they pose is a farce. It is a lie. They know that the two-state solution would never work because Netanyahu himself has said he will never accept a state of Palestine, and actually brags that Israel has made sure that the state of Palestine can never be formed. The two-state solution's been pushed by the ruling classes because they are scared of the mass movement that we can mobilise around the world. They use it to chastise us, to tell us to be silent and let them handle the negotiations for peace. But do you trust Sunak to negotiate for us? Or do you trust Keir Starmer to negotiate for us? Or do you trust the Arab rulers who answer their protests with horrible repression? There can be no peace without justice, which is why the Palestinians have a right to resist. It's why the Yemeni people have a right to resist. And it's why we have a right to resist in the UK as well. And justice for the Palestinians can only be found with a single state of Palestine, with full right of return for any Palestinian that's been displaced. A state where all religions and cultures can live together under one democratic state. A state where the Israeli apartheid regime has been dismantled. And that can only be won by you, by the working class, because we are the people that keep society running, and we have the power to bring that system to a halt. We have the power to bring these governments to their knees, to call for one free state of Palestine and win peace in that region permanently. Thank you very much. There's a meeting at 3 o'clock straight after this rally at the Swarthmore Education Centre. talking about opposition to the system. There is a prevent regime that is targeting Palestinian activists in our schools and universities. This meeting's been called by parents, so join us at the Swarthmore Education Centre straight after this rally to talk about how we can build this movement in our schools, in our universities and in every institution in our country. Thank you.
One more time, guys, give it up for Jack. Next we've got Jawad. Jawad, where you at? Jawad is a history student from Leeds Beckett University. He is part of the Leeds Beckett Palestine Society. He'll be speaking a few words today. I'm going to give it to you. Round of applause for Jawad, everybody.
Hi everyone, I'm Jawad. I'm a student at Leeds Beckett, like Rashid said, and I'm part of the Beckett Palestine Society. If there's any Leeds Beckett students here, please do join the Beckett Palestine Society. We're new, and we need more people who want to have action upon the university as well. Now, before I came here today, I got the train from Sheffield here, and I was on Instagram. And now, whenever I'm on Instagram, I'll always see things about Palestine, and it hurts every time that I see something. But this struck more deep within me. I saw a man telling a story about his grandfather when evacuations began from the north of Gaza. A grandfather who could barely walk and stand, and the crowd up in front of him when they were evacuating was leaving him behind. An Israeli soldier forcing the evacuation asked him, "What is your destination?" And upon telling him where he was going to go, this Israeli soldier smiled and said, "I'll help you with that," before shooting him in the head. And his son had watched the whole thing happen as he waited for his grandfather to catch up with him. Imagine that was your grandparent. Because in that moment, I imagined my own grandfather. What if he was in that situation? And I love him with all my heart, so if all of you love your grandparents as well, and you imagine them, imagine that on a scale you've never seen before. Thousands of the elderly shot dead, executed in their own homes, unable to move. Some of them who were born before Palestine had ever been occupied can no longer live to tell the memory of the country they once knew. And now they have to live towards the genocide after witnessing the loss of their land, probably moving several times. And this is what we fight against: a vile, colonial, and distinctively racist state. A regime that must be dismantled at all costs. The Palestinians can only feel peace when their land is given back to them. And when the state of Israel is gone, and Palestinians around the world in diaspora and their descendants can return to their home. But this country denies that to ever happen, becoming so involved in supporting Israel, doubling down on their support, and then bombing Yemen, as all they did was to try and stop the efforts of Israel and their arms supplies. Now we must and should be outraged, but we should not be shocked. For this country and its history is stained with the blood of millions from Ireland to India. Did they not occupy? Did they not murder? Did they not pillage? Has the Western world not done the same to everyone with their empires? Western civilization has never looked at people like me and you as humans. The ones who broke Africa, shackled them and put them into slavery was America, and the Western world with the British Empire helped them. And was it not the USA that killed 1 million people in Iraq, leveled the country to rubble? Why are we so surprised over their support, when the destroyers of Africa and the Middle East are Israel's greatest supporters? A colonizer's only friend is another colonizer. So when a country with the blood of black and brown men, women and children on their hands supports another of its kind, we should not be shocked. And they befriend a nation that turned the skies of Gaza orange with flames and the soil red. But that's because we're not just fighting against Israel or this country. We're fighting against a mindset hundreds of years old. One that sees our colour first before they see our humanity. But that will never stop us, because we've seen that humanity rises above all else. South Africa stepping up and taking Israel by its neck and dragging it to court is just one step. Because it inspired countries. It's inspired countries like Chile, Mexico and Indonesia to submit their own court proceedings, to submit their own investigation to ICC. Countries are stepping up, and these are countries who have faced colonization, who have faced the imperialism of the West. And we are seeing the winds change, we are seeing tides turn, we are seeing people finally wake up, and the governments are taking action. We have seen ministers in countries, even in the West, coming out and saying, this is wrong, this is genocide. And this is what we have to fight against. Colonization and its legacy. We have a legacy of our own. For thousands of years we resisted against imperialism and oppression. And this is nothing else than a mere step in the progression of humanity. And the Arab leaders who stand by Israel, they are now starting to call for a two-state solution. They don't deserve to be called Arab, much less leaders of the Arab people. They couldn't have the bravery to do something. But the nation that broke the shackles of colonization, South Africa, led by Nelson Mandela, they did. They stepped up. The colonizers will never win. They'll never taste victory. Not until we see a day when every child in Palestine can inherit the land of their grandparents. But every mother doesn't have to worry if they lose their kid to bombs. Their fathers not going to survive with their children, not work to survive the next day without being kidnapped or tortured. Where the elderly can smile, knowing that people wants to get eternal light. Because the only one fighting for the people of Palestine in the Arab Peninsula, in the Middle East, is Yemen. And even despite the fact that the US threatened them, they responded to their music video. They're not scared of Yemen. So we should not be scared in the streets. We should not be scared in our homes. We should take this to every week as we always do. We should continue marching against this government and the government of Israel. One thing is one thing. We will never stop, no matter what, no matter when. We have a long way to go until then. Like Nelson Mandela, like Malcolm X, like Martin Luther King Jr. We have our own long walk to freedom. And like the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan, once said, you either surrender or you fight for your freedom until death. So what will we do? We will fight. And we will fight and fight until only one solution wins. And that is the solution of a free, independent, and the one prosperous state of Palestine. Free, free!
Give it up for Sister Osman, she's very active in the boycotting. Go ahead, say a little bit about PSC.
Hello. I didn't prepare a speech, I'm not here to tell you a speech. I just want you all to get active. So we've got a WhatsApp group. It's got boycotting, it's got campaigning, it's got teaching, it's got lots of things going on the WhatsApp group. If you go over there and scan the QR code, you can get on the WhatsApp group and get active. We've got a lot going on. We are doing a lot of boycotting. We're going around shop to shop to ask shopkeepers, takeaways to stop stocking Coke and Pepsi. We're Puma, HP, Teva. Teva is a pharmaceutical company. It's very easy. Come and get a letter. If you take any medication, to ask them, you do not want Teva. Teva is a Palestinian, Yeah, we don't want TIVA, so it's very easy for you to hand in this letter to your pharmacy or your doctor saying we do not want TIVA. Please jump onto the WhatsApp groups and get active. We need as many people as possible to get active. There's not enough of us. Coming just on Saturday is excellent, but not good enough. Please help. Thank you. And look at the flag the sisters bought today. We need to give a cheer to South Africa.
God bless the South Africans. I've got a few announcements to make. Firstly, if anybody wants to pray Salat al-Asr, there's some sheets at the back. We're going to have a congregational prayer, probably in about 5 minutes, so start gathering up there if you want to pray. The other thing was, it's not really an announcement, but something that struck me this morning. So, I was thinking deeply about why people don't understand why the Palestinians are so resilient, why they've been so resilient for 75 years. I came across this quote, which I think is really powerful. It's from an Islamic theologian. Just listen to it carefully. It encapsulates what people struggle to understand, what the IDF struggle to understand, what Netanyahu struggles to understand, what the West struggle to understand about the Muslims. Listen to this very carefully. What can you do with me? My paradise is in my heart. If you take me to jail, I will make contemplation of my Lord. If you exile me out of my land, I will again contemplate about my Lord. If you execute me, I would be a martyr. What can you do with me? Because I am not limited to this world. I am living for my paradise. How do you deal with a mindset like that? You can't. You cannot do anything tangible to destroy an ideology like that. That's why people struggle to understand the Palestinian resistance for 75 years. I appreciate not every Palestinian is going to be a Muslim. There's going to be a mixture of people, Christian background, no faith. But the vast majority of people in Palestine are of an Islamic faith, and they are very strong because of that concept. Not because they're going to go out and kill everybody and they're doing jihad, whichever way you want to interpret that particular concept. I just wanted to mention that today because for me, that is very powerful. If you believe in something that's unseen, that motivates you. That's why they're very strong, very resilient. So, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce two healthcare workers. I've got Dr. Shabina, who's a consultant. Just bear with me. Everybody, round of applause for Dr. Shabina. Tell you what, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Then after yourself, you can introduce the brother as well. And then just explain a little bit about what you're doing here. And they've got a really nice banner, if you can see at the front as well, for the healthcare workers.
Can you hear me? Thank you. I'm not used to doing this kind of public speaking. I'm a doctor. I'm a rheumatology consultant at Haredale Hospital, Skipton, Keighley, Yorkshire. I'm standing in for Dr. Rihanna Henderson, who's unfortunately had to work today. I've been a consultant for 15 years and a doctor for 30 years. Tell me I don't look that old. Thank you. It takes 5 years to train a doctor at medical school and then a further 10 years to train a specialist. And that's a minimum. It again takes 5 years to train a GP at medical school and then a further 6 years of training to complete and start practicing. Over 375 healthcare workers have been killed in Gaza in the last 100 days. 67 doctors, 28 dentists, 110 nurses, pharmacists, medical and dental students, and the list goes on. I'm just going to hand it over to Dr. Abdullah Al-Farah, who's going to share his own personal story. He's a remarkable physician who's lost family and friends in Gaza.
Hello everybody, thank you very much for coming as always. Week behind week, we always here to support Palestinians and to support the humans in other side of the world. My name is Dr. Abdelal Al-Farra. I am a family medicine or GP and emergency medicine physician working here in Leeds teaching hospitals. I've been working for more than 20 years. I'm as old as Dr. Shaheen is, so we are with the same age probably. The reason why we stand here, apart from being a Palestinian from Gaza, is for me as a human being. I'm not here to represent my family, that I had dozens of my family members being killed in the last few weeks. I'm here to represent the healthcare worker to support Palestine. We have two panels here. Please, if you are not associated and you are one of the healthcare worker, come to us and join our group. Also, we put a healthcare worker nomination for the Nobel Peace of Prize. So we had more than 200,000 signatures done on the internet. Please come and get your signature with us. It's really very helpful. We try to nominate the healthcare worker in Palestine for this prize. So I'm here today to mention one of my colleagues that unfortunately he passed away in Gaza. He been killed in Gaza. His name is Dr. Hammam Allah, and he has been killed when he was 36 years in November. My name is Hammam Allah. I am at 36. I studied medicine in Yemen and graduated with distinction. I completed my internal medicine training in Jordan, where I achieved a highest mark in board examination. I chose to become a renal specialist because I knew that Gaza people, they need it. We have a lot of patients in dialysis in Gaza that needed a renal specialist for that. I was asked recently why I refused to leave my patient in Al-Shifa hospital despite the order to move all to the south. And I replied, if I go, who's going to treat my patients? We are not animals. We have the right to receive proper health care. You think I went to medical school, I studied for 14 years to think what I like? And don't think about my patients. I been killed when I left my hospital, Al-Shifa hospital, to look after my family. Dr. Hammam is one of hundreds of Palestinian healthcare workers that had been killed in the last few weeks. This is what he did, and I just want you all to think about why you are supporting Palestinians, why you are here. Because we are a human. I studied medicine. I did medicine for 20, 30 years, and I always treat my patient despite the background, if they are Jewish, Christians, Muslims, Arabs, non-Arabs, I always treat them the same. I suffer from what they suffer. And I want you to think why we are here to support Palestine. If we are in this small city, we have 2,300,000 people living in this city like in Gaza, and in 2 weeks everything being gone. In 2 weeks, there were more children killed in Palestine than in 2 years of crime in Ukraine. In few weeks, 70% of the houses in Gaza had been destroyed. 70%. Are we still calling for ceasefire? We have more than 10,000 children killed in 100 days. 10,000 children killed. 1,000 under the river. We don't know anything. I don't know anything about my family. I know that dozens had been killed, but the rest I don't know anything about them. what we want to have in this world, why we want to be and stand here forever for Palestine, for South Africa, for countries that are looking for freedom. We have to think about it. What we want to happen in our world, what we want our leaders to be. Nelson Garden, they are just a few meters from here. Nelson Mandela from South Africa said, no freedom without the freedom of Palestine. What we want to have as a freedom. And the last things I would say, in a week time, we have the commemoration of the Holocaust, the 27th of January. I can see a lot of Christians here. I can see a lot of Jews here. I can see a lot of Muslims here. We said, never again, never again. And we look like we didn't learn from the history. We didn't learn the lesson. Please, keep yourself up. We will not go down. We will keep supporting Palestine. Thank you very much for coming here. Thank you.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. From the sea to the river. From the sea to the river. We've just got a few more things to say from healthcare workers, so do you want to go for it?
Thank you. I don't need to emphasise the death and devastation and destruction that has taken place over the last 100 days. Even before Gaza, the healthcare system was fragile, fragmented, and complex patients had to be transferred out of the country. Now there's no healthcare system. Over 30 hospitals have been destroyed. No GP surgeries, no food, water. People are dying of starvation and dehydration. I just want you to imagine yourself giving birth in a shelter, in a street, no pain relief, or even dying after birth as you bleed out, as you can't get medical aid. There's no maternity services, and that's the reality. Imagine amputations, surgeries without anaesthesia, again, no pain relief. Imagine struggling to breathe, but no oxygen. It's winter there too. There are over 100,000 respiratory infections. There's near 10,000 cases of hepatitis due to the 50 tonnes of garbage in the street. There's open sewers. 500 people share one toilet. There's no cancer services, no long-term care, no schools, education. Put yourselves in those shoes. Why are our leaders silent? Our great institutions are silent. Hospitals, schools, university. Get out there, speak up, have your voices heard. There's a genuine fear in the workplace. We must create space for empathy, consideration, condemn hate in all its form as being intolerable and having no place in our society. There have been 2 medical institutions that have actually stood up and made a statement. That's the Royal College of GPs and the British Medical Association. The BMA has actually written to the Secretary of State, led by Professor Philip Banfield and Dr. Latifa Patel. There's been a backlash. For the doctors and health workers out there, please go on their website. Please support them. We need to support those that support us. So as healthcare workers, we echo the call for immediate action, demand a permanent ceasefire, a stop to the killing of innocent civilians, 70% of which are women and children. We demand a stop to the killing of healthcare workers, teachers, media teams. We demand a respect for humanitarian law. We demand a lifting of the blockade to food, water and medical supplies. We demand the safety and release of healthcare workers kidnapped. hostages, those civilians and children held in prison, being tortured. It's our duty to advocate for all of them. But it's all our duty as citizens to stand up, speak out, protest, write to your MPs. It's our duty after 100 days to do more. We need to put pressure on those funding the Israeli state. Just like the PSC said, we need to start boycotting. Boycotting a state that's hell-bent on destruction. Our ask is check the label when you buy your food, your clothes, your makeup, your technology. Who's funding it? Check the BDS website. Lastly, again, there's a board for the health workers petition. There's a QR code at the bottom. Please sign the petition. This is for the Nobel Peace Prize. Sorry, I haven't put my teeth in. This is for the Gazan health workers for the Nobel Peace Prize 2024. We have till the end of January. By signing the petition, they will know the world believes them. They will know they're not alone. It gives me comfort to see so many people from all backgrounds, ethnicities.
Thanks for coming
Every
to these
week,
protests. I
week
know
in,
I've
week
only missed
out.
the first. I didn't know. Well, I knew, but I thought they were on, but I never saw any of them. But yeah.
Please don't stop.
I mean,
until there's a
I
free
record it all,
Palestine.
but sometimes it's like now the powers.
One struggle, one fight.
I know our politics may differ, but
One
it's
struggle,
great,
one
I'm
fight.
I do it in a neutral way, so people.
One struggle, one fight.
Yeah, because some people like there's this
One
other
struggle,
video of
one
some
fight.
protest stand up for racism, which is like a kind of protest to some like Yorkshire Patriots, all right, and then the guy called himself neutral, but then like, you know, take the mick out of the
Not a target.
the
Hospitals.
and just went to
Doctors.
nurses,
Therapists.
journalists, I wouldn't go to London,
Teachers. Academics. Artists.
I've had no
Schools.
problems. I've filmed others' videos
Mosques.
and the other side of life.
Churches.
I've not had any problems.
Sanctuaries.
You know, it's friendly.
Charities.
That's what I say.
Charity workers.
People against it.
Aid workers.
I mean, you can't say
Houses. Men. Women.
Londoners,
Children.
It's like a million people at the protests.
The
Whenever
disabled.
something goes wrong, right?
The dispossessed.
Well, that's the other
homeless.
thing. I mean, sometimes
The
I've
sick.
been to other things where
Innocent human
they want to
beings.
show the photographer not filming, and the guy got
Free Palestine.
So if it's actually not said to have done,
Stop the genocide.
evidence. So, well, I mean,
Free
it's
Palestine.
it's like you guys could be assaulted, and it's like.
Stop
I
the
mean, I presume the
genocide.
police might have videotapes, but they don't always.
Next, we've got my main
And
man,
there's not that many
Simon from
police
JVL,
either,
Jewish
so-
Voices for
Most of
Labour.
them
Simon, where you
They
at?
usually have drones or whatever.
Round of applause for
Yeah,
Simon.
but hey,
And also thank you to Dr.
When
Shabina.
you saw more police,
And go for
a
the
few
really
weeks
inspiring
back when,
speech.
you know that post
Before I
in
get to Simon, I'm just
she
going to make
did,
one
yeah,
point.
she did a protest and
No, it's okay,
a
Simon,
lot
you
more
can say.
police. They had it full
The
on.
doctor that he was
Here,
talking
there's
about,
no-
and he was
they're
giving a bit of a testimony
just
of.
a few community
I saw a video of this particular doctor saying,
So,
how do you
when I
expect me
think
to
they've
leave my
sussed it out,
patients or
there's no
something
problems.
like that sort of line. The same video, I
Yeah,
saw a
yeah.
little girl
But
at the end of the
but
video,
that's the
and the
thing,
little
you just
girl
got to-
was asked a
somebody-
question in Palestine.
it's
She
funny,
goes,
you just walk
the man
away
asked her, he
because
goes, what would
they're
you
so
like to do
few police. I mean,
with
there's
where
the
you are at the
open
moment? Just a
front,
general
so-
question. She
but
says, I'd
they're
like
being
to spread my
friendly
wings and
enough.
fly.
I mean, when it gets to, if they carry on in some
Now,
of
touch
that,
me.
then you might have problems.
I'm not
with
one for
people
crying in
jumping
public,
on
but
the
it
street.
absolutely touched me, and I cried for about 5 minutes.
Thanks anyway.
I bawled for 5 minutes
You only
because
use those,
this is a 7-8-year-old girl saying this.
No problem.
What's she done wrong?
You might.
Why is she dehumanised? Why are they dehumanised? What's so different about them compared to us? The sister just says 500 people share one toilet.
But yeah,
One toilet.
I mean, I think if, but I mean, you see, you can tell when it's.
I'm harping on a little bit, but it just really frustrates me. I'm going to pass it on to Simon. Everyone round of applause for Simon.
Yeah, I'd have cancelled it if it were like yesterday before I didn't cancel it because
opening up this space. It's tomorrow it looks like it's bad. I mean, that's on the downside. When it's windy,
I remember most days I've been catching up with the news watching a program called Democracy Now, which is an American news program. It's best to avoid the mainstream media, as you all know.
They should keep it down. It's not too bad today. I feel that I think we're going to end it sooner, but sometimes
frame it in a terrible way. And I remember hearing an interview with a doctor at the Al-Shifa hospital. I can't remember his name now. He was a nephrologist.
I mean, they did this the other side of Bradford.
I remember
up there,
following
it's so high up, it gets cold very quickly. They started off, it was boiling. It was before I think they started, 4 o'clock. It's like, I looked up because the phone weren't working, so I'm messing about with it. Fortunately, I backed it with audio. And I looked up, I was like, I was on the 4 hours left. But yeah, it gets cold.
No, the protests in Bradford getting a little.
I'm a Jewish person who has come here today to be with everyone on this march protesting against the ongoing war crimes and genocide. And I've been offered a space to raise my voice with you all for a free Palestine and an immediate end to the hideous and their indescribable and appalling horrors being perpetrated by the Israeli state and military machine. I am here to shout out that Jews like myself and other Jewish comrades here today will not let their voices be drowned out by the establishment, by the Zionist establishment and the political establishment, which is trying to marginalize and silence us. Institutions like the Office of the Chief Rabbi and the Board of Deputies do not speak or represent all Jews. And they have attempted, they have attempted to falsely equate being Jewish with support for Zionism and the Israeli state. But more Jews are saying no to this, as we have seen, particularly in America, where organizations such as Jewish Voice for Peace and other Jewish activists who have occupied parts of the Capitol in the US and the foyer of the Grand Central Station, proclaiming "not in our name." From 2015 onwards, I campaigned vigorously through the Corbyn-led Labour Party at the time, and was shocked
where are you
by
from?
the way false charges of anti-Semitism were used by the UK establishment. Not because they cared about anti-Semitism, but as a way of derailing the possibility of economic change and social justice.
On YouTube, we can convert the
Zionist organisations also use the leverage
they'll
of
get a couple of
false
thousand.
You never have bloody Look North come.
to
We
shore
noticed that.
up
It's unbelievable.
and
And
propagandise
not once
to
has any of these
conflate
marches been
Jewishness
featured on
with
Look
Zionism.
North. I find that amazing.
There's a
There's a
march,
man
there's a protest
who had
every
written
day, almost in every city.
unambiguously anti-Semitic
I think if they were
things.
pure,
Boris Johnson
yeah,
was
probably
elected Prime Minister with little concern.
I have actually, I think
A
I've been
world
on
of meaning was turned upside down, and the historic tragedy of anti-Semitism was abused for political purposes.
I thought
Our
if anybody
political
would do
class
that,
have shown themselves to be utterly vacuous and transparently corrupted morally and ethically. Their masks are now fully off, and we can see them for the mendacious and manipulative wretches that they actually are. How sad is this? The US, the EU, the UK has watched with approval as Israel commits heinous war crimes against the people already traumatized multiple times and who have had to suffer appalling things in Gaza, which was described by the late and great Israeli sociologist Baruch Kimmerling as the world's largest concentration camp ever, something he said back in 2003, a very great man. The violence perpetrated against Gazans goes back as far as 1956 and the Israeli blockade and successive bombing campaigns
No, there is one.
operating a hellish
Brother in
life,
battle has got
leaving
has
tens of
taken a load of
thousands
people away from here.
traumatised and needing mental health care. Now impossible to provide as the health system lies in ruins. The establishment in the West is still trying to silence Jewish voices like myself and my comrades here, as well, of course, as Palestinian voices of protest. They want to silence so they can play their geopolitical games to maintain Israel as their unsinkable aircraft carrier in the Middle East, as one former US Secretary of State put it many years
like
ago.
last night, I didn't sleep much because it was, who is it, that American writers, you know, the one who wrote
and their geopolitical function from an American perspective.
The one who wrote The Crow.
Recently, and this is an incredible and appalling irony, a talk in Germany by a Jewish Holocaust survivor was cancelled because she had been protesting outside the White House daily, demanding an immediate ceasefire and justice for Palestinians. The tragic irony here is painful. The great Jewish philosopher Martin Buber said as far back as the 1920s that unless there was a general respect for the population of Palestine and its culture and a genuine dialogue with social justice at its goal, there would be endless conflict and war. Now the terrible endgame of this prophecy is playing out on an appalling scale with Europe, from where fascism originally emerged, giving Israel the green light because of its own historic guilt and subservience to America.
Everyone knocks his
The Israeli state has also sunk to new depths in its leverage of the Holocaust for political purposes. The sight of their delegates to the UN putting on the yellow star filled me with disgust as it abused the memory of those that suffered that appalling event and turned meaning yet again upside down as it uses Israel in its present manifestation that is acting like fascists. The political class want to divide us. They want to tell us there is a clash of civilizations to divide us and to stop us from focusing on the injustices of the economic system that they want to maintain. But we must fight Islamophobia, we must fight racism, and we must fight anti-Semitism together.
There will be.
This must never morph into a conflict between Muslims and Jews. At present, it is a conflict between a settler colonial ideology and an oppressed and an occupied people. So to conclude, Jews such as myself and my comrades here will continue to speak out and call for justice and an end to the massacres carried out by the brutal American Western-backed Israeli war machine. We will not be silenced by thuggish institutions that would deny our own Jewish voice, and we will not allow them to abuse the historic tragedy of anti-Semitism for political gain. Let us all fight racism together and call for a free Palestine. Thank you.
Everybody, round of applause for Simon. Before I introduce our next speaker, just making a quick announcement. I've got two more speakers, so you won't be too much longer. Thank you for your patience. I wanted to announce that there's an event on. There's a ticketing event from Teledyne. Teledyne is a company that's based in Shipley. They provide a lot of the security infrastructure that contributes towards occupying the Palestinians. The best way I can put it. There's people that know more than more information, but in a nutshell, that's what it is. They've got an event on the 25th of January. They're going to be leafleting at 6:30 a.m. in the morning. It's kind of early, and then they've got a protest at 12 p.m. till 1:30 p.m. The details are on this leaflet which I've got. So if you want to know further information, join PSC, and then we'll be in touch with you regarding the information. You want to spread some leaflets out, yeah? That's fine. So, Sister Gummer's at the front, she's got some leaflets. She's going to pass out some leaflets. I think she already has, but she'll pass a few more out. The second announcement is there's a meeting in Bradford. Sorry, just 1 second. It's Bradford Palestine Organising Meeting, and that's on the 23rd of January at 7 p.m. at the Mayfield Centre, 35 Broadway Avenue, BD5 9NP. So if you're from Bradford or that locality, please go down and show your support. Before I introduce the next speaker, I want to quote Malcolm X. I quote Malcolm X every week, and I'm not going to give this week a miss. So please, repeat after me. Hopefully it'll wake you up a little bit as well. We declare the right of all Palestinian people. Again, we declare the right of all Palestinian people to be human beings, to be treated as human beings, to be respected as human beings in this society, on this day, and on this earth, which we all intend to bring into existence. The best bit, by any means necessary. Free, free Palestine! Stop the genocide! Free, free Palestine! Stop the genocide! Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! Gaza, Gaza, don't you cry! Palestine, don't you cry! Palestine, don't you cry! Thank you, God bless you. Next we've got Alison Phelps from Women in Black, which she attends during the week, which is again another initiative to raise awareness about the Palestinian plight. She's also Christian background. She's gonna be representing Christians for Palestine. Have I got that right? Alright, I'll let her introduce herself, that's everything.
Thank you everybody. It's an incredible honour to be standing on this stage. Having been to a few marches, I've been always inspired by people who've spoken. I think all the previous speakers have said the really important things. Thank you, health workers. I went to their vigil last night not knowing what it is, and it was so inspiring. Thank you so much. Don't forget to sign for the Nobel Peace Prize. I'm very honoured to stand here as a Christian. In spite of the complicated story of the church, I am proud to be a follower of Jesus. Jesus is the one who inspires me. So I'm speaking as an individual Christian, not on behalf of all churches. And I'm so pleased to stand with so many activists, Jewish activists who inspire, Muslim activists who inspire, people of no faith and deep humanity. We stand together. We are all equally made in the image of God, with an equal right as our Palestinian brothers and sisters to life, to family, to hope, to water, to health, to a right to a future. And I feel really passionately about this, and I am happy to stand week by week on Tuesdays with the sisters of all different backgrounds until Palestine is free. Why do I do this? I do this because my life has been inspired by so many different Palestinian people. I have been blessed. I think of a 24-year-old artist, Malak Matar, from Gaza, in exile at the minute. What powerful art. I think of the writer Adania Shibli, whose prize that she deserves has been put on hold because she's Palestinian. I think of Rifat Al-Arir, poet, 44, killed on December the 7th, whose poetry inspires. I'm inspired by Abuna Elias Shakur, one-time Archbishop of Haifa, Nazareth and all Galilee, a powerful peacemaker. He's from a Melkite Christian background. It's the oldest church in the world, the original Christian place, trashed at the minute by war. He is a peacemaker, And I think of the Bethlehem Children's Choir. We hosted them in Hare Hills about 20 years ago. They were wonderful, inspiring people. And I think of Pastor Munter Isaac, the Lutheran pastor in Bethlehem. You probably all saw pictures of how Bethlehem was not a place of celebration this Christmas. It couldn't be. It was a place of lament and mourning. And the pastor reminded us that it's right to be angry at injustice, and it's right to stand with people who are mourning. Another inspiration, one of my own relatives, Dr. Runa Mackay, was a paediatrician in Nazareth for most of her working life. She worked in the refugee camp in Lebanon for several years with the medical aid to Palestine, and she taught our family, she educated us a bit from far back. But the most important inspiration is Jesus himself. Parents from Nazareth, born in Bethlehem, he Palestinian. We know him as the Prince of Peace. Even as Prince of Peace, especially as Prince of Peace, he himself, angry at injustice, he was the one who said, blessed are the peacemakers. He said, do to others what you want them to do for you. Have I got that right? He said, love your enemies. I want to be his follower. These are the things that energize me.